Yo, Dan Larson here. Welcome to Synthesize Sunday 28. And this episode, I'm going to show you how I made this bass sound. This is a Serum bass. And this is made out of an FM8 patch, an FM8 sound I made. But when I made it, I found it, well, not really useful, so I decided why not to try to import it into Serum and see what can I do with it. And this was the sound. So this is the original FM8 patch. It's not very clear. I mean, it has some, maybe it is scrolly and sounding fine, but it has some frequencies what I don't really like, especially the cabinet sound, which is coming from trash, but that is the main character. That is why you may think that it sounds good, but without the convolve, I just don't like it. The convolve makes it really growly. Anyway, so let's jump into it. The FM8 patch is, as always, really simple. It is made of a quite simple FM patch, and the filter is in bandpace mode, and I made this movement around this envelope. So this is the main stuff here. So the basic, the first operator is F, which is a sine wave on, of course, 1, or ratio 1 as FM8 calls it, modulated by E, which is a 1 plus 6, and on course 1 again. The D, which is modulated by C. Anyway, so D is 1 plus 2 plus 3 saw. Anyway, I'm sure you can see it. And C is a sawtooth. Every operator has some movement except D, which is very cool because the whole sound moves like a wavetable in Serum. And this was the goal. And of course, the filter has some movement also. Let me disable the effects. I have 5 instances of OTTs, which may sound funny, but this is what makes a sound. This is the original sound with the trash. But listen to with one OTT, 2, 3, and still distorting. It's not distorting now, but still needs some presence. So some of you asked, is it necessary to use 5 OTTs? As you can hear, yes. In most of the cases, yes. Where the sound is very dull and filtered, like this, OTT makes some very nasty result, very cool result. Of course, you may resample this whole stuff and use it that way, because this huge noise cannot be controlled really well. But let's jump into the trash one. It is really simple. I use just boost on the highs, another boost on the highs, and the convolve. This is that simple. I use the body intimate preset. Maybe you can play with the mix if you want. And some EQ. To push up the middle and cut the highs. Saturator limiter. But this is all. It's very simple. So what I did here is bounced one note, and it was this. I EQ'd some of those metallic noisy sounds, which is, you may know, it is given by the OTTs. And I use an LP filter to totally get rid of them. But this was cool to import it into Serum. Now the Serum patch is nasty again. On itself. But the additional effects are not that huge. I have an OTT saturated, some EQs, you know, I EQ'd, I mean, I cut and boosted the frequencies I liked or I didn't like. And a volume shifter, what I don't use here. So the Serum patch, the first is the wavetable. I mean, this one shot I exported from or bounced from FM8, and I have this cough wavetable from I don't know where. But the stuff here is the first sound is wheel is from cough, this oscillator B, and the rest of the sound comes from oscillator A. So let me show you. So this is the only purpose of oscillator B. I have sub oscillator and noise oscillator, which is not really important here. So it sounds fine anyway. Okay, so let's jump into it. It's a huge preset because as you can see I use six LFOs, the seventh is not in use. So the 6 LFOs, I mean the first one of it controls all the wavetables, the warping modes and the levels and the filters. I think it does nothing else here. Let's check. Filter cutoff. Yeah, this is all what you can see in the main panel. And as you can see for the wobbling stuff, for the wobbling part, I set, I think in every LFO a point where the loopback point is. So this is what I did here to make the the wobbling very unique, but I had to use it for that purpose. I had to use a loopback point on every, well, I think almost every LFO. The first LFO is basically only, driving and modulating the wavetables, the modulations, I mean the corrector, the warping modes and the wavetable itself and some effects. And the rest of the LFOs give some color and give some movement to the whole sequence of the sound, because the first one is like a growly stuff, and the second part of the sound is the wobbling. Whoop whoop whoop, as Valentin would say. Let's get to the whoop whoops. So this is what you can see here. The second LFO modulates all these stuff I just told you. This section here is the growl, and this section is for the whoops. And as I told you, I set a loopback point here from this part. And this controls, let's see, only the effects page, is a filter variation here. No, not in the FX filter, maybe. Oh, it's sorry, but it's so hard to. No, this is what it controls. The first one, distortion frequency and the FX sections filter cutoff. So I have used the comp filter. It makes the sound more evil. The distortion frequency, which is not in use by now, I think. I don't know why. But I think it's cool if you want to use it. By the way, I so love this filter in the distortion rack or distortion effects. It's so handy. You have basically one, or if you use the combine, the multi filters, you have 3 filters or 2 minimum. You have the distortion, that is 3 filters, and you have the filter rack again, which is 4 filters. It is very, very useful to use the distortion filtering here. I use it a lot. But in this case, I just disabled it. But with the filtering, it gives some nice character too. Anyway, so I use a tube distortion here. We check the filters, cutoff, and what else we have. Filter variation, which was this stuff. Okay, so let's get to the other one. Yes, I control here the LFO rates to make it pum 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 pum. So I change the speed of the whoops in LFO 3. This is that simple. On LFO 4, another just, you know, coloring stuff. I didn't use, I'm not using, I just disabled the noise filter, but LFO 4 controls that. But which is more important, I use this EQ here. And this is the case to get rid of the noise, which, you know, is generated through the preset. There is this weird, noisy, I think, OTT kind of noise here. Anyway, I use an EQ in LP mode to get rid of that. And, you know, to make the sound more wobbly. Whoop, whoop. Whoop is a lot better expression for that. Another LFO to make the sound more growly at the first hit. I'm using with the warp mode and the filter cutoff variation and the FX filter frequency at the same time. So if I disable it, try to bypass all destinations. As you can hear, it's not talking. It's not good. Anyway, so yeah, let's get back, activate all destinations. So this is what the warping mode and the cutoffs do to make the sound round, you know, bite you. And the sixth is just another coloring LFO for the wobble section, which is given by the filter mix here. Because if I disable the filter, it is cool again. I mean on the wobble section, not on the growly first part. I just wanted to make the wobble not very static and not very monotone, but, you know, give a little color to it, and the filter mix was a cool destination and a cool purpose to it. So this is what LFO 6 does, and let's see what else we got here. You know, we have a hyper phaser, which is like always essential if you want to make raw stuff or deep evil basses. And nothing else. This makes the whole sound. I use the macro here. To be able to make and control more tone to the sound in case of, you know, if you need that in the song or anywhere. It's not, I mean, it's maybe not the best tone it gives, but I like it. I think it's cool. So this was the sound, and as I told you, I think in the previous Synthesize Sunday episode, I like to use, you know, junk sources for wavetables. That wavetable creation tool, what I'm sure you know, is really cool on itself, and it can generate very smooth transition wavetables and stuff. But for me, you know, like random sources and junk sources are a lot more exciting to make wavetables from. And well, this is what I made here, because if you see the wavetable, it has some serious phasing problems here, but it's okay, I'm cool with that. It moves and jiggles and wobbles, and it's definitely not the best wavetable you've seen probably, but it just works fine, and I really love the result what I had here. The whole wobble sound is maybe not the evilest and not the craziest and sickest sound you've ever heard, but I think you've learned a lot from this episode. And if you want to download the stuff, you can check the description. Thank you for watching my video, and see you next time, guys. Bye bye.